On January 31st, Trump named 2 lawyers who would lead his impeachment defense team: David Schoen, an attorney from Alabama, and Bruce Castor Jr., a former prosecutor in Pennsylvania. This was after the House voted 232 to 197 to impeach Trump on January 13, alleging that the president incited an insurrection that caused the U.S. Capitol breach. The 2 attorneys are expected to argue that the Senate impeachment trial of the former president is unconstitutional. The trial will be scheduled for the week of February 8. Schoen believes that Democrats are using the impeachment process as a weapon against Trump to prevent him from running for office again. In an interview on Fox News, he said,
"I think President Biden missed a great opportunity to be a statesman and to have demanded that this thing be called off, frankly. This is the political weaponization of the impeachment process. There was a rush to judgment. Listen, when President Trump became president, the day he was elected, there were calls for his impeachment already. This is the weapon they've tried to use against him. But now we know also that the agenda, Ms. Pelosi and others, is simply to bar President Trump from ever running for president again. And that's about as undemocratic as you can get."
Other legal scholars who are arguing that the impeachment is unconstitutional are also relying on an interpretation of Article 2, Section 4 of the Constitution, stating, quote, "The President, Vice President and all civil officers of the United States shall be removed from office on impeachment for, and conviction of, treason, bribery, or other high crimes and misdemeanors," unquote. In their interpretation, these scholars say that impeachment is only for those in office currently, and that the authority to impeach Trump expired when he left office on January 20. Schoen also stated that he and attorney Bruce Castor Jr. will argue that Trump's speech at the rally on January 6 is protected by the First Amendment. Many lawmakers and members of the media have placed the blame on Trump for inciting violence at the Capitol riot, pointing to his rally before the breach. Before calling on his supporters to fight like hell to be well represented in Congress, Trump urged supporters to protest peacefully and patriotically at the U.S. Capitol. After the storming of the Capitol, Trump also condemned the violence, saying that those who infiltrated the Capitol have defiled the seat of American democracy. Schoen also said, "President Trump has condemned the violence at all times. Read the words of his speech. He calls for peacefulness. This has nothing to do with President Trump." Meanwhile, Representative Jamie Raskin, DMD, sent a letter calling on Trump to testify at his second impeachment trial and said that if he doesn't, they would use it against him, a similar tactic that was used during the first impeachment trial. Schoen, in response, claimed Raskin was attempting a public relations stunt by sending the letter to the former president. "Your letter only confirms what is known to everyone. You cannot prove your allegations against the 45th President of the United States, who is now a private citizen," he added. Do you think the former president should be impeached? Let us know in your comments below.